morning, students. We're going to kind of wrap up CPR notes today. And those of you in my class, or if you want to get a CPR card, you can come in and I can get you checked off and get you one. We'll take a little test on that, and not a hard test, but a little national test on it as well. So to wrap up CPR notes, I'm going to talk about the AED. The AED is an automated external defibrillator. We have one in each one of our buildings at West Noble. They're all across from the office in all 4 buildings. So if a teacher would ever yell at you, go get an AED, that's where you would go. The AED is your best chance of reviving a person because it shocks them back into rhythm. So you still have the same 3 red flags we've talked about throughout all these notes. No response, no normal breathing, no coughing, no movement, no blinking of the eyes. And that's what you do. And I got a short video on this. I'll show you in just a second that will demonstrate how to use it. I'll go through it note-wise, and I'll tell you all the steps and tell you the precautions, and then I'll play the video, and we'll be pretty much done with CPR. So you power on the AED. They're very universal. They have a green power button. Let me kind of show you that here real quick here, if I can. Where my little thing went. Yep. Hang on a second. Okay, so this is what they look like. You can see the green button up here at the top. That's what powers it on. Then it starts talking to you. Very kind of a rare thing, but all the manufacturers got together years ago and said, we got to make these similar. Even though it may be a Philips, it might be a Magnavox, it might be a Heart Saver, whatever. We got to make them because we can't have someone reading the owner's manual. I mean, we're in a stressful situation. We want to get them out. We want to use them. We can't be reading instructions. So they're all very uniform that way. So you turn the thing on. Oops, kind of bumped it there. Then you're going to hook up the pads to a victim's chest. I'll play this video after we're done. And basically, you got probably 2 sets of pads in most of these AEDs. The adult ones got larger pads. They're bigger. Hopefully you can see that on the screen there. Okay. And then the connector is slotted, so you cannot put it in backwards. It only fits in one direction. It has to be in the slot. You can't do it backwards. So people worry about, well, if I get the leads backwards, you cannot. They are slotted. Okay. And they have pictures, and this talks to you. I'll turn on in a minute. But you're going to put one, you can see maybe right there on the picture. You put one down here on their side below the nipple, and then the other one goes up on their upper right, your left, and then it's going to go between them, okay, and shock them into rhythm. A child's pads are a little different. They have a little reducer in between the connector and the pads, okay, and they are smaller, and you're going to hook one in the front right between the nipple line and one in the back between the shoulder blades, so it actually sandwiches them, so you actually shock them between the pads, okay. If you only have adult pads, that's okay. You can use adult pads on a child. It gives them more of a shock, but basically it still works, okay? If a person is extremely sweaty, you might have to dry them off, or you pull them out of water. Water and electricity obviously does not work very well. And if they have a hairy chest, you may have to shave them or take off their hair. If it tells you, now I'm talking AstroTurf hairy, I'm talking really hairy. So usually it works just fine. It's got to be on bare skin. You cannot hook it through the clothes. So you have to take your shirt off, the victim. And then you plug it in and you let it start doing its thing. Okay. Now, what's nice about, and you say clear, don't have anybody touch the victim, because if you're touching the victim, then it picks up your rhythm. So it does 2 things for you. It's going to shock them if they need it, and it analyzes to tell you if they're in cardiac arrest or not. So it's really nice. Okay. So you turn it on. It starts talking and beeping.
Apply pads to patient's bare chest.
A screen here that also gives
Plug in pads connector.
A text.
Next to flashing light.
In case a person's deaf, okay? You hook in the pads, so you plug them in. Okay, doesn't matter if it's child or
Apply pads.
you
Plug
apply
in connector.
you apply the pads.
Analyzing heart rhythm.
You make sure no one's touching the
Do
victim.
not touch the patient.
And then if they need a shock, this will light up at the bottom. Here we go.
Shock advised. Charging.
And then it charges up.
Stay clear of
This
patient.
is where you make sure you tell people to get away from the patient like 3 or 4
Deliver
times.
shock now. Press
And then
the
once
orange
you're
button
sure
now.
everybody's clear,
Shock delivered.
you shock it and then it reanalyzes.
Analyzing heart rhythm.
Okay. Very important. We talked about this the other day. Very important that we clear the victim, because if you shock them and someone's touching that victim, it reverses your heart rhythm. Now you're going to have another cardiac arrest victim. So now you have 2 problems. All right. So you make sure everybody's clear and it does its thing. Now, what if it says shock still advised? Then you need to do CPR on them. Okay. Because they've been laying there, you've hooked them up, you've analyzed, you've shocked them, you've taken several minutes to do that. You got to get blood flowing again. So in between shocks, you do 5 sets, 5, 30, and 2s, and you make sure that you get the blood back flowing through that victim again. Okay. And this kind of shows you a step by step, and I will attach these notes on there. I think they may be on there already. Okay. No limit on shocks. Shock them as many times until the EMTs get there or they come back. They may very well come back to life with that. Okay. That's your best chance. But I had a friend of mine that they shocked him 6 times in the ambulance, and they were about ready to give up. And on the 7th one, it revived them, and they're still around today. So there's no set number. We use adult pads on any child 8 or above or adult. Anybody below 8, we use a child's pads, but if you don't have a choice, you use adult ones. There's about 4 or 5 things you need to kind of take note of. Then I'll play the video. If the victim is covered in water, you got to get them to a dry place. We talked about that. Dry them off best you can. If they have an implanted pacemaker, which looks like a half a deck of cards, and it'll be a little lump right here on the sternum with a little scar, then just make sure your pad's not up against that or it'll fry it. You want to put it 1 inch to one side. They don't have to be perfectly in place. They just have to be in the general area. Medication patch. If they have a patch where a pad goes, you got to take it off and wipe it off with a glove. I had a emergency room nurse said one time that she wiped one off and didn't have her glove on, and it has a nitroglycerin patch that sped up her heart. So you got to be really careful with that. Jewelry and bra undergarments, you don't really need to remove any of that unless it's where a pad goes. If a pad goes there and they got jewelry or an undergarment, an underwire bra, for example, then you might want to make sure you don't put that pad on top of that. And if a lady's pregnant, you still shock them. Pregnancy shock will not harm the baby, but you got to get that woman back alive to save the baby as well. So you use AEDs on anybody. Okay. So they're pretty self-explanatory. You can see from this graph how important it is to get them. I shouldn't call them dummy proof, but that's kind of what they say. I mean, they really are something that, there's something that's the best chance of survival. So let me show you a quick video, and it shows you how to use these things real quick. Okay.
My name is Dr. Benjamin Abella, and I'm the co-chair of the Clinical Emergencies Committee at the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania. Today, I wanted to talk to you about automatic external defibrillators, or AEDs. We've recently installed automatic external defibrillators throughout the hospital, and the cabinets are unlocked so that you can grab a defibrillator in case of an emergency and open it up using the Velcro fastener. Anyone can use a defibrillator to save a life, including non-clinicians. And remember, while someone is going to get the AED, it's important to perform CPR until help arrives. Now I'll show you how to actually use a defibrillator so that you too can save a life. This is an AED trainer similar to the ones that we have installed in our hospital. I'm now going to show you how to apply the defibrillation pads to the chest of a possible patient, and then show you how to use the defibrillator. It's very simple to use. Have the defibrillator open. You hit the on button, and the defibrillator will talk.
Remove clothes from patient's chest. Peel white pads from gray plastic case. Attach pads to bare skin exactly as shown. Remove clothes from patient's chest. Attach pads to bare skin exactly as shown. Stay clear of patient. Analyzing heart rhythm. Shock advised. Stay clear of patient. Shock delivered. Be sure emergency medical services have been called. It is safe to touch the patient. Begin CPR. For help with CPR, press the flashing blue button. Place the heel of one hand in the center of the chest between the nipples. Place your other hand on top of the first. Push the chest down firmly 2 inches. Keep time with the beat.
Notice that the automatic external defibrillator talked during the actions of applying it to the patient. The messages are designed to be clear for anyone to use. The defibrillator pads that are included in the case of the defibrillator are to be used only once. Our staff will ensure that we replace new pads each time a device is used. Security throughout the hospitals have also been educated in how to use these devices and will bring them.
Okay, so you can guys see it. They're very easy to use, very straightforward and simple. You only use the pads one time, then you never take the pads off the patient. Once you hook them up, you leave them hooked up. The EMTs will just unhook them and take them with them. The reason for that is because why if I unhook them because they revive, but then they go back into cardiac arrest. Now I got to get another set of pads and redo the whole thing again, which is crazy. So always leave the pads on. Always remember if shock does not work, do a round of 5, 30 and 2s, 5 cycles, and then let it analyze again. Shock them again, see what happens, and repeat if you have to. All right. Okay. And again, guys, I really hope that you take this serious, and I hope some of you want to have cards for $2. It's a great deal. It lasts for 2 years. And I want all of you to be confident enough that you can use the AED, you can do CPR, you can do the Heimlich maneuver, and save a life. Okay. Hey, have a great day. As always, if you have questions, shoot me an email. We'll talk to you later. See you. Bye.